Of course, led by Sam Darnold, those Vikings are now 3-0. But another 3-0 team that I think is maybe even more surprising is the Pittsburgh Steelers. And truthfully, they haven't been the prettiest wins, but they've done what they need to do on both offense and defense to be able to pull out the victory each and every week so far, and there's something to be said for that for sure. But the main thing I want to focus on is the quarterback battle between Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, because going into the year, it was expected that Russell Wilson would be the starter. And there was you kind of thought that maybe Fields would come in at some point, whether that was Russ playing bad or the team just wasn't having much success. But Russell Wilson was hurt to start the year, and Justin Fields comes in, and now they're 3-0, led by him. And Fields hasn't had the best games, but he's doing just what they need to win. And, this past week was his best game of the year, and he said that he's really grown a lot as a quarterback, and that's bound to happen. And we're really seeing what he can do, because that Bears environment with the O-line and stuff, it just wasn't the right place for Fields. But now he's kind of found a spot with Pittsburgh. And you can only make a case for Russell Wilson because Fields' production hasn't been the absolute highest. But the team is doing so well right now that even though Russell Wilson was originally believed to be the starter, I don't know if you want to mess up that momentum, because Fields, sure, he isn't having to do a lot, but at least he's not doing something wrong. We saw with Desmond Ridder last year, he wasn't asked to do much for the Falcons, but he couldn't even do that. So there is something to be said for Justin Fields just being able to manage the game, control the offense, and exit games with a victory. And if you brought Russell Wilson in, we saw with his stint with the Broncos, he can throw you out of games sometimes with his play. So I don't know. It's an interesting situation over in Pittsburgh, because Russell Wilson, he isn't the guy you would typically think that you would bench, because this is the veteran, this is the mentor. But they're letting the young guy play instead. And I think if you put in Russell Wilson now, it would mess up all the momentum that the Steelers have. And so I think Fields is the guy moving forward for them. If you enjoyed this video, it would be great if you could find it in you to like, subscribe, maybe check out the full podcast on Spotify, follow us on there, follow us on Instagram. I know realistically this podcast isn't going to go anywhere ultimately, whether it's via the segments on YouTube or the entire podcast itself. But I want to get into the sports broadcasting business. I want to be able to promote thought-provoking discussions about the NBA, and I would love to do it via State of the Association. Thank you if you made it all the way through.